to stop evil, knowing the vision. Glad to stop people going to prison. Future, present, and odd past. Super presence on podcasts. Laughing or frown, lasting or drown. Sat on pods like passing the crown. Odd pass, you pick out plain English. Podcast, blue tick, and James English.
Been through a lot and came out the other side. Learned a lot about myself along the ride. Now I'm living my best life.
Hey everyone, I'm Neah Inspired. We're back at it. Unapologetically inspired voices, honey's outspoken words, inspired actions. Today, I'm with the amazing Jen. Introduce yourself. What's your name? Where do you come from?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Neah.
No problem.
I am Jennifer McKenzie, and I wanted today to share my journey of like recovery, transformation, and all the stuff that I've kind of been through and got over, and
where you and essentially where you're at now.
Oh gosh, my life looks so different, like from what it did like 10 years ago, from what it did like 3 years ago, even.
Yeah,
you know, always ever evolving. Always
I love
growing.
that. That's the beauty in it as well, isn't it? It's like we may not have it all put together, and there may be times where we haven't got fucking nothing together, but it's the beauty. And I used to be so focused on like the destination that you just missed out on so much of the beauties in the pursuit. And when you keep raising the bar in things as well, you don't recognise like the progress as well.
Yeah. And I think each stage of life requires a different version of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what we are as human beings, is that we learn, we grow, we evolve. You know, imagine being in the same place for all your life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we wouldn't ever, everything changes. That's an inevitable.
Yeah.
Change
and
and dying are the two givens in life.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, right? That sounds a bit morbid to start off with.
Yeah, it's the truth though.
Everything else is unpredictable.
Where did it all begin from you then? So did you grow up in Bedford?
Yeah, I grew up in Bedford. Do you know what? My upbringing is pretty kind of like middle class.
Okay.
So my dad he's still alive, but he was a teacher at a private boys' school. Yeah, so, you know, you might say I grew up in privilege in a way.
Yeah.
Because we had a big house, like we didn't really want for anything, but for me it was me. It was like I always felt different, always felt kind of angst inside.
Yeah.
I describe it as I could feel and see things that were outside of me.
Yeah.
Like I always had this sixth sense.
Yeah.
I could sense when people were lying. I could sense when something's about to happen. So I've always been this person who's very hypervigilant.
Yeah, I've been
and
like that.
Always had a connection with nature and animals, like from really little.
I've always been like that. But
never wanted to be told what to do.
Yeah, I'm still like that now.
Same.
Do you think though? Because I've always been like that. Has that did that make you feel? Because I've always been like that too. I always felt like other people was like that as well, and that used to make me feel really like almost like smothered. Not like what's the word? Almost like exposed. I don't know.
Like they could know what you were thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But they can't.
But they can't. But because
No.
I used to think I could know what someone's going to thinking or what they're saying or, you know, what their energy kind of means because I'd, you know, assume it in my head. I used to feel that without, you know, when I was younger, now I know the differences in us. I used to think that everybody was like that. So it used to make me feel kind of exposed if like I was thinking a certain thing or feeling a certain way. I used to feel like I need to isolate because other people would see it. Other people would be able to tell. But that's not the case, is it? Because we're just like superhuman, darling.
Yeah, it is like having a sixth sense.
Yeah.
And that can be both exhausting and, you know, really kind of cool because you feel so very deeply, but you feel the love so very deeply, which is amazing. The joy and the excitement. But on the flip side of that, I feel pain, rejection, sadness, grief, like at the very, very core
so
of me.
Intensely.
And those big emotions.
Yeah.
I've always struggled to know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And I never had that direction as a child to learn how to cope with big emotions.
Yeah.
And that's something I think is really important.
Yeah.
you know, fuck school. Like, why do they not teach you how to look after your emotions? And one of my earliest memories is being at nursery, and I was happily playing with the water. This memory come back to me when I was swimming the other night in the gym, and I was swimming through the water, and I just had this memory flood back into my mind. It's like I was at nursery, I must have been like 3. I was playing with the water in the garden, and then they stopped me and they forced everybody to try and nap. And I remember, I don't want to nap. I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm having fun.
So I kicked off merry hell.
Yeah.
I'm not napping. I'm not tired.
I bet they loved you.
And I just remember running around and running away. There's people at nursery.
Yeah.
And that's one of my earliest memories of trying to be shoved in a freaking box.
Yeah.
And being told what to do.
Yeah. Because you're labelled as well, aren't you, when you're not?
Yeah,
when you don't conform, you're labelled as, you know, disruptive and naughty and, you know, just, you know, disobedient and all this stuff. But really it's like, how about I just don't want to be controlled? Yes. Or how about I just don't want to nap right now? Yeah. You know, how about I'm just not tired? Yeah. Why can't that just be accepted? You know, things like that. And it's like, it's not. Mm-hmm. There's people are so, because it's just, there's no kind of rationality. It's just like, you know, you either do that or, you know, you get kind of backlash whether you're a child or even, you know, more so as an adult.
It's like you don't have autonomy over yourself from a very young age. That's how I felt. And it was like, why is everyone telling me how I should think, feel, look, act? And like it's taken me a long time to shed a lot of that. Now I got into some pretty bad ways. Whether you want to call it getting mixed up in the wrong crowd, I don't know. But
was that kind of a rebellious thing for you, do you think, of like people trying to tell you to be a certain way or do certain things, and you know your mind is just, you know, you're a free spirit, you know, you do. Is that kind of, because for me it was a bit like a bit of like digging my heels in kind of thing, maybe like being childish or whatever, but I think it is not entirely, don't get me wrong, but I think it can, you know, was that maybe a bit for you of like a rebellious thing of kind of, this is how I am, accept me, or I'm just going to fucking completely run away with it? And
I think there's an element to that. I mean, I was in year 4, so I reckon, what's that, about 8 or 9 years old, the first time I got in trouble with the police, is because I don't like change. So I recently discovered I'm autistic.
Okay, great.
Like 3 years ago, but
Wow.
we'll come back to that.
Yeah,
so this is the undiscovered parts of my life, and I'm like, why am I like this? So the teacher I was supposed to be having, that had changed, and I didn't like her. So at lunchtime, I recruited these other 2 girls to come with me.
We're off.
Yeah, and you know, we ran away. I don't think we're 8, 9 years old. That's pretty, like, to run away from school. Yeah. We had everybody looking for us. We had the police out looking for us and everything. And we'd just gone cartwheeling down the road, you know, happy as Larry, like, we're free from this school.
Have you got, like, siblings and stuff?
Yeah.
What are they like?
I'm that child.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the middle.
Oh, yeah. Middle
girl.
Middle child syndrome.
Yeah.
Right.
Brothers either side.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and my dad's jokes that I was independent age born. I've never conformed. I never want to conform.
Yes, honey. Yes.
I often get called blunt, rude, a bitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because a spade's a fucking spade.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be bothered to mince
for
around.
real. I'm like that. I ain't got time for skirting around it, darling.
And if you do me wrong, I expect something in return.
Yeah. We don't care if it's blood. No, I'm joking. We're joking.
No, but I've let go a lot of that kind of vengeful behaviour these days. So I'm all for the peace.
Yes, peace and love. We love that. And I mean, like I was saying to you on the way here, I feel that, you know, some of the people, you know, majority of the people that finally like see the light and value the light, you know, they've got to have come from, you know, some deep kind of levels of darkness to be able to even differentiate between the two. You know, what do you think?
Yes, I think think so. I mean, if I hadn't gone through, I'm not grateful for the things I've been through.
Yeah, same.
And there's a lot of people that I'm not willing to forgive, but I've forgiven myself.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, because that's the thing that's going to help you grow.
And yeah, I think having to face some of those things and kind of be like, oh, and hold my hands up to that was really difficult.
Yeah.
And I think I spent a lot of time running away from myself.
Yeah.
Through drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, in middle school, like this girl, it's like I'm a really kind, sensitive, loving person, right?
Yeah.
Until I'm not.
Yeah.
Until I get pushed over that edge. I wouldn't go out purposely trying to hurt people or anything like that. Of
course.
And a lot of the things where I've been violent, it has been for survival.
Yeah, me too.
Or it's been I've
feeling threatened, under attack, or you've got overloaded.
With
you know, because we're with the ADHD and the autism and stuff like that. We have, and like you said previously, we are oversensitive. We feel emotions a lot more stronger and intensely. So I remember when I, you know, got in trouble and stuff like that with the police and stuff. When I was inside, people would say, but why didn't you just do that? Why didn't you just do that? And granted, you know, they was probably right, and I probably could have done that and kept myself safe. But people don't understand in them situations that you may think that's a scary situation, but you don't understand the level of fear I feel. You know, the level of threat I feel like I'm under. And that's where it's so vital for people to understand these, you know, these differences in our brain.
Understanding we are all trying to survive.
Yeah.
And it's some of these behaviours and these actions come from just a place of survival.
Yeah.
I mean, the girl kept picking on me and picking on me and picking on me, and then saying stuff to me in a different language, and then laughing at me when I didn't understand it.
Right.
And I'd had enough. So I waited for her in the cloakroom after school by myself and just rebounded her head off the cloak. And
I don't condone violence, darling, but that is funny.
Shouldn't do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it
you know, what's it got to be like that, Jen?
Violence, but it's like...
Sometimes it's the only language people speak. You didn't speak her language, or she didn't speak that, did she?
No. And yeah, and I wasn't sorry.
And I'm still not.
I wasn't. No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to apologise for it.
Yeah.
Because I think don't bully people.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't bully people. I think it's horrible, and it's really cowardly.
Yeah, it is.
Just to make fun of somebody
for no reason.
And
as well.
Make them upset
because they obviously feel that you're.
Yeah.
They obviously feel that you're vulnerable and you're easy to.
Yeah.
And then that is why when you are like you know, targeted or feel like a victim or under threat in certain situations, you kind of have to retaliate to that in a lot of a stronger way because they think you're weak and for them to even come to you like that. You know, so then then when you do, you can be looked at as, oh, that was unnecessary or that was uncalled for. But ultimately she didn't take the normal you as enough to not. Yeah. She saw that as, you know, as a weakness in you.
And I think I was always a very sensitive kid. I was always that kid that was crying at school.
Right.
Yeah. And like, oh, I don't want to be here. And I was always really like sensitive kid that was little, tiny, with little rosy cheeks. But, you know, don't underestimate me.
Oh my God, you're being something small as me.
But then it's the thing, that's when sensitivity...
I've got heels on, actually.
Sensitivity isn't a weakness, you know?
It's not.
It's not a sign of being weak.
No, it's not. It's, if anything, it's quite endearing.
Yeah.
As well.
I suppose.
You know, I'm just trying to make it feel better because I'm like it. When did you start? When did, like, you know? So you was playing up a bit in school and stuff like that. When did you start getting involved in, you know, like mixed with the wrong crowd, the drugs, the crime, stuff like that?
I was about 13. Like, it was difficult at home.
Oh, you left it a long time then.
Yeah, started late, you know. It was difficult at home. My parents were going through, they'd gone in separate rooms, right?
You picked that up, especially if you're an oversensitive child.
Yeah, like I write spoken word about it and stuff like that. And it was like walking on eggshells because I'd come in and it'd be
you're hypersensitive, you can feel it.
So it's like all emotions weren't dealt with. They were swept under the carpet. It was like, And I just didn't want to be there. So I just started going out.
Yeah.
In the evenings, because I didn't, going down the park, drinking, white lightning in the park.
Oh, and, I used to get on that. White lightning in the park, we used to get the massive bottle and a bit of glass. So we used to line it, that's your bit, that's my bit. Spinning round, did you spin round?
Yeah, spin round. Yeah. And then, then fall someone had some weed.
Yeah.
And then we had some ease.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then I went out with this guy who was smoking heroin and crack.
Fucking
and
hell.
Then I got introduced to that.
How old was you when you got introduced to that?
I was shoplifting I was shoplifting and then selling the stuff. So I was earning money.
Drugs.
While I was young. Yeah. I'd sign people out of school because I could forge the signature. I used to charge people $5
really?
every time. Yeah. And that used to go on, to fund when I was actually at school.
So you were smoking crack and heroin at
14? I was when I started smoking crack and robbing. Yeah.
Obviously, you've got to start robbing because you've got a habit now.
Yeah, burglaries, and then I robbed a fast food place and stuff like that.
Definitely went for the grab. I've heard that crack, you ain't hungry at all. Is that true?
No, it was money at the till.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Oh, no, I ain't right. See what I mean?
I don't want to eat. I want to smoke.
I'm not usually like this.
Yeah, and I first actually tried to take my life when I was 15. Like, I couldn't cope with myself. I couldn't cope with life.
I get that.
Like, and do you know what it was as well? It was that I changed when I would drink. And I weren't a very nice person.
Yeah.
So and sometimes I couldn't remember things. Couldn't remember maybe nasty things that I've said or, getting with the wrong people.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no. And then all of that shame and all of that disgust and like upset because that wasn't really the true me.
Yeah.
And I started to internalise all of
feelings.
these feelings.
Yeah.
And I pushed it down and pushed it down and pushed it down.
Yeah. What you don't own owns you, though.
And, obviously the chemicals in my young brain and I couldn't cope with it all. And, I think I was, 15, maybe, 15, 16, I took a overdose. And, that was, the first time. And I was self-harming and stuff like that as well, cutting, because I did not know what to do.
Yeah, with all these feelings and all these emotions that you just don't know how to...
Yeah.
You don't know how to manage.
I didn't even know what they
regulate.
I didn't know how to talk about them.
You just knew there was something different.
It was just
I
like
grew up
this.
like that. I just always felt like there was something wrong with me. I couldn't cope with it.
And it was like this, just this hole or this pain.
Like this void
that
you was filling with drink, drugs,
I
people.
can't fully describe it.
Yeah.
But I think people listening, and I think yourself would kind of understand, what that felt like.
Yeah, most definitely. So when did you, after you've got involved in the drugs, and that was obviously the guy, was he older than you?
Yeah, and then he went to prison.
Oh, okay. And, did you carry on with the drugs?
No, I had some break. Yeah, I didn't.
Right.
It was more sort of recreational. Really. Yeah. Back in those days, it wasn't like a daily habit sort of thing. Yeah. Luckily, I tried heroin and I was violently ill, so I never picked it up again. Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that, darling. That would have ruined you.
But I did take quite a lot of speed and smoked quite a lot of white. So yeah. And then I went away. Actually, I went away to Surrey and started working with horses. Yeah, and I just got away from it all. Yeah. This is a kind of a circle and a continuum of my life. Actually, is like I move away or I do a geographical or do something, I change house or move house. That's what I used to do. Yeah, and I think, this is going to be the new me. And I start off really well. Yeah. And then something triggers it and I go right back to
I used to do that my whole life. Like
a fucking merry-go-round.
What I realised, I used to do that my whole life, and then until one day I sat there and I thought, this keeps happening, and then I thought, what am I running away from? And I thought, I'm running away from me. Yeah. That's why it keeps coming back up. Because it's not the area, it's not the people, it's not this, it's not that. Because the same thing keeps happening over and over. And the one thing, the common denominator in every situation is me.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's when you have to, the self-awareness, then comes accountability, and then takes the action is, fucking issues are up here.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because then you have to take harsh, honest looks at yourself. And that's really hard, especially when you have, self-medicated and avoided for so much of your life because of this confusion and these emotions that you can't handle and then, you know, you've got the shame and the guilt, and it's then trauma, you know, as you start growing up and stuff like that as well. So it's then even more that you don't want to face, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I went around in circles.
Yeah.
And then going back to drinking and using, then getting clean, then not, and I had 2 children, and in between all this, I like ran pubs. I had really good jobs, but I'd always have that in the back of my life, sort of ruling my life would be drinking. Mainly, I would drink for as a social elixir for me to actually just let some of that anxiety go while I was around other people.
Yeah.
Because I got really painfully shy. Yeah. So it's like I was mute.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And really stiff and rigid in social situations.
Yeah, I can get like that. Like almost, I look uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. Yeah. And then, so as soon as I had a couple of drinks. And then that's the anxiety,
because I don't want people to notice it.
As soon as I had a couple of drinks, I would just relax. And then, but then I'd always take it too far.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know how to stop.
Yeah.
So what I would say is I've always been a binger.
Yeah, me too.
I've always been a binger. And then the loss of control and then the suppressing of those feelings. Yeah. When I would take it too far and that I'd get triggered. Yeah. I would take it too far.
Honestly, Jen, this is literally, it's like you're reading my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And then that spiral
and then
it
spirals
chaos.
again, because then it's the chaos, and then it's more shame. Yeah. More anxiety. More build up. Yeah. So then it's so easy to just, and then you've got that for like 3-4 days.
I thought like,
after it,
you know, I keep sorting my life out and I keep going back to this. And like, I've been in some really dangerous situations, like the trauma over the years. I've had trauma to my face, so my tooth got punched out.
Really? Where do you live?
25 stitches in my face by like man at who.
Little old Jew, you're only little, 2 foot and a Rizzler, bless you, little pocket rocket.
Yeah, so that kind of, that was a big sort of moment in my life where I got my life back together, but I just like to go for a party now and again. And I was modelling and everything, and working for some really big brands. And I just signed a contract with Boots and to do modelling. And then I lost all my work.
Of course you did.
Because, you know, I wanted to party, and unfortunately the people that I partied with were drug dealers, criminals, and things like that, and violent people. And they don't like they don't like women saying no.
No, they don't. Of course they don't. Because they've got all the money and all this and all that. Why would you? They don't get why you would. Serious question. Now, do you feel that you can go on, you know, you can accept all your traumas, all your mistakes, you know, go on the healing journey from them, understand your unhealthy relationship with substance misuse, you know, even taking it all the way back as to where it started. Why do you feel that despite all of that, you could do all of that, understand all that, and still have the occasional binge drink?
For me, no, not now. I've tried that. I tried moderation.
And then it slowly creeps back into chaos.
What I did was then every 2-3 months, I'd have what's called as a reset or a blowout.
Right.
So I would...
would that be your little thing? Well, I'll keep my nut down for a bit, do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
don't work.
You know, most of the time it's fine.
Right.
But
that most of the time ain't enough, though.
It's not enough for me anymore.
No.
And it's like...
Because you don't know what that one time when it's not all right is going to do.
Playing Russian roulette with your life.
You are.
So every time you drink, you're holding a gun to your head.
You are.
Is this going to be the time
that
I blow my life up, blow my head off, blow my life up?
Yeah. To the point I can't put it back together.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not willing anymore to take that risk. So alcohol does not belong in my life.
Yeah.
Drugs do not belong in my life. Disrespectful people do not belong in my life. People telling me what to do. People pleasing. Crossing my boundaries. It just doesn't belong in my life anymore. It's taken me a long time, Neah, to get to feeling this aligned, this empowered within myself. So 10 years I've been in recovery.
Right.
10 years. And it's been a journey of self-discovery. So,
and it is continually, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, back then I was like doing yoga in the day, drinking green smoothies, but then I was sneakily kind of having a blast
a line and that,
on a pipe or a line or whatever.
Right.
And it was like a double life, but I see it as medication. I was self-medicating.
Yeah.
Because do you know what? Those evenings and that little snippet,
it still suppressed a lot of you.
Quiet, though, of peace and quiet. They call it revenge, because it's like in the day you've taken up so much of your energy by masking and trying to micromanage everyone and everyone's feelings.
Yeah, and everything else. Yeah.
Those and we'll put the kids to bed and that. I'm a mum of four children.
Oh, wow.
2 are adults now.
Wow.
And obviously there's had to be a lot of repairing in those relationships as well. But those moments of peace in the evening, I'll be like, right, I'm having a glass of wine and a lime.
I've earned this.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like...
bit of control
because
coming
it
back,
just...
maybe.
My mind went peaceful then.
Yeah.
And I could just sit there with my music on and do some writing, poetry, whatever. And I was quite happy.
Yeah.
But that's not sustainable either.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And yeah, it just doesn't have... I found better ways to cope.
Yeah.
So I retrained as a life coach and a trauma therapist.
Oh, I could do with both, darling. You've got any spare time on your hands?
Yeah. So, like, my own journey inspired me to look into trauma.
Yeah.
Not once in those 20 years I was up and down trying to get help, having labels put upon me, called crazy, emotionally unstable, label me with this, label me with that, all these mental health conditions, and trying to medicate me to the nines.
Yeah.
Not once did any of those health professionals talk to me about unresolved trauma.
No. And what they don't realise is the reason why... They just listen, they sell you the problem, then they sell you the pill, darling. No one wants to get to... Just don't realise that the reason why they're giving you all these medications, the reason why this and all that, is because of all this stuff down here that they want to just suppress. But really, if you get to the root of this stuff, that unresolved trauma that's making you want to drink, that's making you feel unworthy, that's making you feel shame, that's making you feel like you need to, be numb. If you got to the root of all that, then all of them steps after wouldn't, need to be go down. But they're only things that you'll really realise on your own through a lot of trial and error, I believe, because it's easier, isn't it, to just say, right, you're depressed, or right, you've got this going on, take that, you can't stay up because you've got PTSD, right, that'll help you sleep, know.
But it's like getting a huge sticky plaster
Yeah.
and putting it over a wound and then never changing or cleaning that wound underneath.
Yeah.
And then it's going to start to stagnate. It's going to start to fester underneath until it becomes so painful and comes up so much to the surface that you have no choice to rip that Band-Aid off and look at what's underneath it. Yeah. And that's how I describe working through trauma. Yeah. Like, I've worked through my own, and I help, I've helped about 1,000 people actually now overcome their own trauma and really work on those emotional wounds that we hold in the body. Wow. And like, the transformation hasn't just been an overnight thing.
Yeah, it's not. And I think that's the thing that people need to know as well.
Consistency. Now, in those 10 years, have I been abstinent completely from drugs and alcohol? No. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and barefaced lie to people.
Straight, yeah.
I haven't. But every time I go back to it, I have a deeper understanding of myself.
Yeah. And why you keep going back
I haven't
to
smoked
it.
Crack for 10 years this year.
Yeah.
So this year would be my 10-year anniversary of not self-harming, not trying to kill myself, and, not smoking that. But have I had a cheeky drink and a line in those 10 years? Yes. Yeah. Not to the extent that...
You're smashing your life to bits.
No. Yeah. No. But it's still, like I said, Russian roulette.
Of course it
we
is.
don't want to play Russian roulette with our lives.
No,
I don't want to. But I am human.
I'm
a human being.
Yeah.
And I
have to be a bit easier on yourself and be compassionate.
Oh, God, that was the huge thing. Because I was so horrible to myself.
Yeah.
Like, really got a massive stick and beat myself up.
Yeah.
For so long. Oh, God, that's going to make me cry.
Oh. And that's hard as well, because then it makes it harder for you to, go, but even believe in your worth to persevere on the China Hill as well. I
think it's because of, God, like, facing some of that stuff is like you just get told your whole life that you're a horrible person and you're a bad mum. Yeah. And I started to believe that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do you want me to tissue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think I was going to cry today.
Happy tears. They're tears of growth.
They are.
Happy tears, but it shows, you know, you're human.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's not an easy journey.
Because I think you know, you can sit there and you can say, oh yeah, oh look, I've done this, I've done that, I'm a motivational speaker, I speak on stages, I write, you know, co-author books, I'm writing my own book. Yeah. But then actually, my biggest shame, and I think the biggest wound I've had to heal was with my children. Yeah. How are your children with you now? My shit and their fault.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But it stops with me. Yeah. And that's what I've said. Like, you know, I'm sorry that I didn't know any better. But now I do. I can be better. I can do better. And
was you, because you was like using drugs and stuff like that for quite a long time. You know, through their younger life, all of their life. You know, to quite a large extent. Yeah. Was there ever? I don't mean this in, you know, any kind of insulting way, obviously. Was there relationships that needed to repair, or did part of you never actually build them, like the real you?
So,
do you think?
No, I think there was some of my happiest times were just with me and the kids. Yeah, you know, like it. And I think there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of kind of misunderstandings that they're too little to really know. So, mummy's not very well. Yeah. You know, mummy's not well. Yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's what they sort of got told if I had to go to hospital, or I'd have to get family to look after them for a bit because I weren't in a good place mentally or whatever. I'd gone on a binge. Then you know, they'd get told mummy's not very well. Yeah. And I think now they're older as well. They've listened to a couple of my podcasts that I've done, and my daughter did like ring me and said, "Oh, mummy, I didn't realise like what, you know, she's actually old enough to, but still calls me mummy." She says, "I didn't realise all that stuff that you went through. You're such a strong woman. I love you."
Don't you make me cry now.
I know. Yeah, and
she didn't, because some kids could have been like, "Oh, you lied to me."
Yeah, she was angry at me because she thought that I didn't want her. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that. Yeah, and I was like, one day you may understand. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, I love that, and I love that they're so supportive and understanding of that. Yeah. Is that the case with all of them?
But what they've seen is they've seen me break, they've seen me on the floor off my nut, but they've also seen me rise, and they've seen me transform my life. You know, from poverty, I didn't have a pot to piss in. You know, I would rely on handouts, or you know, I'd be in the supermarket like trying to add it up as I went around, or when I got to the till, having to put food back. Right. You know, so
I'd be chucking stuff under the buggy, darling. Did you ever do that?
Of course I did.
For the benefit of the tape, she said no. Yeah. We've never done that.
No comment. Don't know what you're on about. No, who? It weren't me. Must be mistaken, mate.
Yes. I don't remember saying that. But yeah, and that's they've grown up and saw that.
And that again was
that because
your survival instinct, right?
Was that because you was buying drugs and stuff like that? So you was like winging it?
Not really. It's because I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
Like I was trying, and then what I did is I had my two big ones were like with their dad, and then I had my two little ones, and I literally had like £3.50. This was 10 years ago after I'd come out of hospital in psychiatric hospital. Kids come back home. I went home. They come back home, and I was like, I don't want to live like this anymore. Yeah. Had this like mad spiritual awakening in the hospital.
Beautiful. Really?
I can tell it, the story. Yeah. Like,
tell me, I had one on the 22nd of March 2020. I'll never forget it. Yeah. But I used to tell people about it. They thought I was nuts. I could detail it. They would think, even one of my friends said to me, Neah, you're my friend. She said, but don't tell that story to other people. She says, you're my mate. She went, people will think you're nuts. And I can imagine, I can see how to other people I sounded nuts. But I am a little bit nuts, but I'm not. I know what happened, and I know I've never been the same since. Don't get me wrong. There's still things that I battle with at times that I always have, but I've never been the same. Everything made sense in my life. I saw things so much differently in ways that complete opposite to how I'd always seen them. Things that I didn't, and I can't explain it.
Yeah, you've got to be there, right? And it's very personal, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if anybody else believes you or
No,
whatever.
it doesn't.
I think spirituality for me is a very personal thing now.
Yeah.
And I used to hide behind it a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you
like a
know,
mask
look
in
at
a
me,
way.
I'm so spiritual and peaceful. In my head, I'm not peaceful.
I'm not. In your head, you're not.
I've got like 10 people and a jukebox whirring around in there.
Do you
all
think?
having
Do you think
conversations
that was a
and
way?
music playing?
Yeah, I know. Mine's the same.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you used to like push that image of yourself in a kind of a way to kind of keep you safe, in a way to not feel vulnerable or to people to think that you was? I
wanted people to think I had my shit together.
Yeah.
I still don't have my shit together. I have my shit together a lot better than I have done.
Yeah.
I'm financially independent.
Yeah.
Like I've got my own businesses. Like
Amazing.
I don't have to rely on other people. I've healed a lot of the stuff. I've forgiven myself. I've come a very long way. I've spoken on stages in front of hundreds of people. I've shared my journey on podcasts and my own radio show. It's like it's all those things, those achievements, outward achievements, but actually the internal achievement is I actually quite like myself.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel a lot. I don't have to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah, you don't have to mask that anymore either, because you like who you are and you are all right. And when you say that to yourself and you say, do you know what, I actually am all right, that's when it becomes easier to not feel the need to like, you know, be drinking all the time when you're around people or, you know, numbing yourself with drugs and alcohol, because I believe, you know, it comes from a feeling of inadequacy within yourself in ways, you know.
Absolutely.
It does
all
for
you're
myself.
Trying to do is the emotional payoff for drinking, for overworking, for overachieving even, over exercising. Yeah. These are all coping mechanisms, but some are deemed acceptable by society and some
are not. Yeah.
Right? So when I
they're
talk
both on
about
the same scale.
When I talk about using, you know, having a couple of lines to get through life, that's not acceptable. But you pushing yourself to burnout, not seeing your family for overworking and avoiding your emotions is totally acceptable. It's applauded.
Of course it is.
It's applauded.
Of course it is.
And
of course it is.
It's the same thing.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's
that's
the same thing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that,
how did you find? What was the hardest part of learning to forgive yourself for you?
Facing some of those things that have hurt people. Yeah. That I didn't mean to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And scared people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you, like, what advice?
Especially my family and my children.
Your children,
Yeah.
How were they, you know, like now? So they're proud of you now?
Absolutely, yeah.
And they should be, and I love that.
I've got like one that's coming up to 13. And she does look at me like I'm an ancient cretin. So she's, you know,
she will do at that age.
People of teenage girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'm, you know, I've never lived. Just like,
yeah, I know. And then I have
so
to think back to when we was younger, and we was like that, weren't we? I can imagine we was pretty similar at that age.
But she is a little mini me, and you know, she doesn't.
Fun's gonna happen then.
She doesn't go to mainstream school.
Okay, great.
Because I'm
because
kind of not having that.
That'll do. Yeah. Enough said. What advice would you give to anyone that's, you know, maybe going through, you know, addiction right now, avoidance, you know, inadequacy within themselves, suppressing painful emotions, to kind of try and start them on that journey of forgiving and healing? Because without forgiving yourself, you can't really truly heal, and you can't grow. You're always just going to be, you know, just like you said, that conveyor just going back and back and back, you know. And I feel that, I personally feel that healing is a bit like that anyway. It's like it can get watered down. walk down a bit more, walk down a bit more. It's not read a book, you know, go watch a seminar and you're brand spankers. You're not. If only it was.
I wish.
Yeah, if only it was like
we'd
that.
all be doing
painful.
it. If it was easy, if change was easy, we'd all be doing it.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time when I work with people, it's the most resistance that I see is that moment they're about to change.
Yeah.
So then they're like,
It's the fear.
whoa, what is this kind of unknown?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the fear of the unknown.
But a lot of it's fear of success.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that. Like,
Because people don't feel worthy of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this not enoughness.
Yeah.
Is that, oh, I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
I'm not pretty enough.
Yeah.
I'm not successful enough.
Yeah.
I haven't got enough money.
It'll never be enough.
I haven't got enough. And actually, we are enough.
Yeah.
Just as we
just
are.
Being,
and that's something that I've
just
really
being
let go of.
Enough. Yeah.
Is a couple of years ago, like I was flying in my career, right? I was on this stage, that stage, doing this, doing that. And then I had this discovery, right? Oh, I got diagnosed with ADHD, and then the autistic traits started to come out once I managed ADHD.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, everything makes sense. And it made sense that why I was trying to prove myself so much. And I asked myself the question, who are you doing this for?
Yeah, because it went for you, wasn't it?
And I was burnt out.
Yeah, you
fixing, achieving, putting everything into helping everybody and everyone however I could.
Yeah.
And I got burnt out.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, who are you doing this for?
Yeah.
And I was just trying to prove that I was enough.
Prove that you could.
Yeah.
Prove that you was enough. I know. Yeah.
And now
totally
I'm like, I am enough. And I take things a lot slower. My advice to people, though, is if you are feeling that you want to change your relationship with alcohol, you want to change your relationship with substances, you want to change your relationships with others, you have to start with the relationship with yourself.
Most definitely, yeah.
And
that's the most scary one to face.
Yes. So I would say if you are facing those problems or it's becoming out of hand, it's disturbing your peace, your life, find a fellowship.
Yeah.
You know, it's not for everybody, but find a community, a group of people. We can't do this on our own.
Yeah.
We need people that get it.
Yeah.
And we're human beings are tribal, right? We need our tribes.
Yeah.
Find your tribe.
What is it they say together? Oh, what is it they say there? They say, I can't, or something, but together we can. I can't remember the slogan thing.
But we're stronger together.
Yeah.
Like we are.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't have done a lot of the things that I've done without that community and that support.
Shows the power in it.
As soon as I start to isolate, that's when my head goes.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm more susceptible to relapse or to go back to old coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
But as soon as I pick up the phone or get myself into the communities, the right communities, then that takes that away. It takes the power away of it. To get yourself into a community of like-minded people that get it, whether that's a support group, whether that's a fellowship, you know, or whether that's into some therapy. I would say work on trauma.
Trauma,
100%.
most definitely, yeah.
Childhood trauma. Everything comes back to childhood trauma.
Yeah. How do you find, what do you think is where to start when it comes to healing from childhood trauma? Because you are right, that is where everything all stems from.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of trauma, you know, that trauma's a part of life, unfortunately. But I feel that it starts with the childhood trauma, and your coping mechanisms to trauma are created very early on.
Extremely, So you think, though, 0 to 7 years old is the time where our brains are developing the most, and our nervous systems. So if something happens in childhood, that interrupts your brain development and your nervous system development to wired for survival rather than comfort and connection. So trauma affects your brain massively, and so does abuse, so domestic abuse and stuff as well, or sexual abuse and from childhood and stuff like that. It will interrupt your brain development. So when you're going like to your teenage and adolescent and early adulthood, you feel behind because those other people who haven't had trauma are out there buying houses and doing this and doing that.
You've been in survival mode.
But you've been in survival mode for so long. which you've got to then retrain your brain and you've got to catch up, so to speak. But don't worry about other people's timelines.
Yeah.
This is your
You're
timeline.
You're on your
don't
own
worry
one.
about society's blooming timeline. You've got to do this by that age, this by that age. You know what? You can start your life at 40, at 30, at 25, at 65, at 80.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people that have come into my practice where, you know, they've been like 75 and they're now only dealing with some childhood stuff that has come up. You know, it's never too late to start something new and change your life.
Most definitely.
I mean, something that I also talk about is that wellness is a privilege, and I don't want it to be that way.
Yeah.
Access to services now has become harder.
Yeah.
And it is a privilege to be able to pay for those services.
Yeah.
For some people.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be like that.
I don't think it should be like that at all.
So I've started a CIC that's
Amazing.
Launching on
What's
the
that
1st
called?
of March.
We'll plug that in.
It's called Wellness on the Move CIC.
Amazing.
Because I don't want people to...
Do you have an Instagram page and stuff?
The socials are launching next week.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, when this goes out, I'll plug it in.
Thank you.
On the
so
handle.
It's actually providing spaces for people to heal. So through
Amazing.
movement, from movement
I love
therapy,
this. I'm coming.
sporting.
I love
so
it.
my partner, he does football coaching.
Oh,
so we're going to do it through sports, movement,
and you do the sound
social
therapy and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I love it. If you went so far away, I always see your stuff and I just think, oh, I love it. I'll have to come up one day and do it.
And we've got this. We've got an old ambulance that we've redone.
Have you?
So we've got our healing van that we're taking around the UK.
Oh, Jen, I love that
just helping
so
people.
much.
All I want to do, Neah, is help people.
Yeah.
That, because it breaks my heart when people say, "Oh, I don't know what to do with myself."
Yeah.
Like, and we've got people committing suicide left, right, and centre because we've given them this awareness that they need some help, but they're
not getting the help.
left for months.
Yeah.
Sometimes years.
Yeah. With destructive patterns of behaviour, with coping strategies that are not healthy, all of that things. That's what they're left with.
Yeah.
But with the awareness as well that they need.
So we'd like to help teens.
We should do a collab one day with our
my
CIC. That'd be really amazing. I think that'd be really good. We'll look into something like that.
So 13 to like 19-year-olds, we're going to help them with like resilience, emotional resilience.
Powerful
and
stuff.
then have the sporting stuff. So without the kind of heavy healing stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I do in my private practice.
Yeah.
This is going to be more kind of community-based, social-based, so that people feel they have that connection to themselves and other people.
Yeah.
And then for adults, we're going to provide spaces for people to kind of come together and heal as well.
Beautiful.
And we're going to go around different communities and workplaces and things like that, having a bit of fun with it as well.
Yeah, and it just lightens it as well, doesn't it?
And
it's
schools
nice.
and colleges and things we'll go into.
Yeah, amazing. And I think like making it fun as well.
Yeah.
It makes it a bit more light-hearted in the sense of like, you know, this hasn't got to be all morbid and traumatic. You know, it has been enough. Yeah. You know, but it hasn't got to be, the whole journey of it hasn't got to be.
Yeah.
And then it makes it easier as well, doesn't it? And, you know, especially if you're doing it as like a, you know, you're reaching out as like a community to people. It makes people know that they're not alone. Yeah. And I find that, I wonder if it's the same with yourself, I find that with helping people, it almost heals a part of me that didn't get help when I needed it. Yeah. And that is so, you know, we can't heal that, you know, entirely we'll go back to them places where, you know, them times where we needed it and avoided kind of stuff that we've gone through and faced since then. Yeah. But I feel like I kind of heal like younger Neah a little bit when I, you know, when you reach out to these younger people, because it's kind of like, no one's kind of saved me back then, but it's it's helping me now, knowing that I'm helping you. Do you feel that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, especially having like 4 children.
Yeah.
And as well, when I'm like, oh gosh, you know, what if they feel alone or whatever?
Yeah.
And then I think back to little me, and it's like, who did I need when I was that age? What did I need?
Yeah.
Now I didn't know that back then, but maybe I can be that person for somebody. Yeah. And it steers them on a path of growth rather than a path of self-destruction. And if that,
most definitely.
a handful of people, or if that's
It's
100
enough.
people, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly
it's
the
not,
same.
I don't hold any sort of expectation for that. Just helping people.
Yeah.
And I trained as a breathwork teacher.
Oh, lovely.
So for me, when I first went into recovery, I would feel very like anxious, like a panic attacks. I had loads of panic attacks. So breathing exercises and then breath work really helped me with and meditation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, I can't meditate. Okay. And so because I can't keep still, my brain's too busy. So you don't need to. It's not about just having a clear mind. Meditation is about self-discovery.
It is.
And it's about letting those thoughts be. Without
feeding, without adding another thought and another thought and another thought, just letting them flow
to them.
Yes, I
and
learned that through meditation.
And then I teach conscious connective breath work.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever tried it?
No. So give me a little go. Should we have a little go?
No, because it's like for trauma release.
Okay, should we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. There's no rules on here, darling.
So I do I call it my big breath work sessions.
Okay.
So you'd lay down.
Okay, should we lay down?
Nearly 2 hours though.
Oh no, I ain't got that time.
We ain't got that time,
darling.
But I can take you through.
Take us through the process. Yeah, the breathing.
Take you through a breathing technique.
Yeah.
So conscious connected breath work is otherwise known as circular breathing.
Okay.
So it's a continual breath. So it's a circular breath, and what it does is it helps to bring you into your body. It helps to bring emotions and trauma and stuff to the surface to be released.
Wow.
So we do like 3 rounds of the breathing with some breath holds.
Right.
And then we do a big release at the end, like a primal scream.
Right.
It's so cathartic.
Really?
And so I have people, you would lay down and you'd have like an eye mask on, have a blanket over you, and you can actually see the trauma and the emotions
rising up,
leaving their body.
Really?
Through crying, through laughing, through shaking.
Wow.
Yeah, through twitching. It's honestly, it's an amazing experience. I'd love to take you through it. Like
I'd
one
love
day.
that.
Yeah. But like even just connecting to your breath.
Yeah.
So when you start to feel those triggers, when you start to feel anxious, just like closing down your eyes.
Yeah.
Putting one hand on your chest, and you can tap the chest and rub the belly, sort of thing. Like
I was told this before, but I found this quite difficult.
You can just tap like that. Brings you into a sense of safety in your body.
Okay.
And then you just connect to the breath. So I've been talking a lot, so my breathing's a bit like shallow at the minute. But once you start getting into it, you sort of breathe in through the nose, and then exhale. So you blow up the belly first, so like you're blowing up a balloon in your tummy, and not really using the chest, so you breathe belly breathing,
right.
And then you exhale and your belly goes in. So you're not really like. So when you like do it, when you're shallow breathing,
I see what you mean,
like that.
Yeah.
And then you're not using your diaphragm.
Right.
So it's actually breathing down into the diaphragm, which then helps you to switch your nervous system into rest or digest.
Right.
And it brings you back into that sense of the now and the present.
Yeah.
And you can do like what's called belly breathing. So just really nice deep breaths into the belly and exhaling, and then a nice longer exhale to then really bring you into that sense of calm.
Wow.
And closing down the eyes and putting the hands on the chest and the stomach just tells your body that you're safe.
Wow, that's really
rather
interesting as well.
That you're not being chased down the road by a tiger.
Yeah,
you're
you
actually
can feel
in
like
bed.
that when the trauma's coming up, of course, and it's people try and they'll be resisting it because they won't want to feel that.
Yeah.
So that's really great that they're doing that, or just calm you down to know that you're safe, to be able to release that.
So I do the trauma therapy through breath work, movement. And then incorporate some sound, and then what's called NLP coaching. So it's helping to rewire the subconscious mind.
How do you do that?
Oh, it's amazing. So NLP is
I could do with some of that.
Yeah, it's changed my life.
Really?
Yeah, changed my life, and it really helps people to let go of those past things,
because we're all holding on to stuff.
Yeah, and I'm still doing it, because it's like it's an onion.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and we're onions.
Yeah, and
there's
just
so many layers to us.
Yeah, and you could like heal, let go of one bit, and then it's another bit underneath, another bit, and there is There is so much.
And some of that stuff's buried.
Yeah.
Really deep.
Some of it is dissociated that far that you don't even know that it's there.
Yeah. And that's why I love this work, is because I spent years doing counselling and therapy, and I was like,
medication,
I still feel the
all of that.
same. Still there. I feel a bit better. I understand it a bit better. I haven't actually discharged it from my body.
Yeah, so it comes back up.
So I work with the body mainly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because 80% of it is from the body up.
Right.
To communication to the brain. And like 20% is just your brain to your body. So
yeah.
It makes sense, right, to work with the body.
Yeah.
To actually heal some of that trauma. But
how long have you been doing that then?
So I actually started training in holistic therapy 23 years ago when my eldest was a baby. And it's always been like my kind of passion subject is the brain and the body. I think I was just trying to understand myself, like human behaviour. So it's
just
always
soul
been an
searching
interest.
a bit,
And then I've done other things in between. But the business that I have now, I launched that, like I came out of hospital and started a business.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, right, that's it. I'm doing it. So I've been healing along the way whilst growing my business and my skill set.
Yeah.
So nearly 10 years now, 9 years, I've been doing breathwork, body work, energetic body work, working with the mind body and just learning more about trauma, learning more about
there's always so much to
theory
learn,
and all this stuff. Yeah, it's like, I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I know a fair lot.
Yeah,
about
you know
it.
a fair bit more than you did before.
Yeah. But
when
you
was a lot more kind of troubled and mixed up in things.
Yeah.
At least now that, like we said, there's always going to be more things to learn, but you understand things a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, in moments how to kind of get yourself, or you can see. I suppose you can understand, behaviours or thought processes a lot more.
Yeah.
Can you know where they've come from, or that something's unreleased here, or there's something I need to work on here, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm a human being. I get pissed off.
Yeah,
you know. Some days I get fed up. Sometimes I snap. Like I sometimes I don't sleep very well. But it's all okay.
Yeah,
because I have the tools to help myself.
Yeah,
in everyday life.
And as long as you're not,
I don't get annoyed at other drivers.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Yeah, because that can happen easily.
Yeah.
What inspires you?
Young people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think they're given enough space and enough credit.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
Me neither. If you could say one thing to 13-year-old Jen, what would it be?
Oh my God, poor her.
Oh, hugs. We're giving you lots of hugs.
I would say to her, don't let the bastards get you down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And rise above it and do what you want to do, not what you think other people want you to do.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And go for it. You're going to be all right.
Yeah, you're going to
be all right, girl.
People have said that to me before. What would you say to young Neah? And I would just say,
gonna be all right.
You're going to be all right. You're going to be okay.
Up, but you'll be all right.
Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride, darling, but you're going to be all right.
You're going to come through and you're going to help a lot of people.
Yeah, your journey, your trauma journey or like chaotic journey is ultimately going to be, it's going to be your success story in the end. And it's going to be your testimony to help others. And it makes it half, less painful to look back on because, you've kind of changed the narrative on it.
That's exactly what you have to do is you've got to change your story.
Yeah.
So that's ultimately what I've done. I've rewrote my story.
Yeah.
In recovery, they tell you to live life on life's terms. But I'm like, actually, I want to live life on my terms. I get to choose who I spend my time with.
Yeah.
I get to choose where I invest my money.
Yeah.
I get to choose what I entertain and what I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I get to choose the path of my life.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, things happen outside of my control, but
of course.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay with the unknown. But actually, I can be the director of my movie.
Yeah.
And the author of my story, however you want to relate to it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's, what's your next chapter going to be?
Yeah.
Exactly. How exciting.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Think how exciting. I was saying to someone a little while ago, I remember when I was inside or even, before then, and I was like, I just used to dread life. I just used to feel like so overwhelmed. Sometimes I'd open my eyes and just, I'd wake up, but I'd keep my eyes shut so tight just to like not have to like face or deal with myself or deal with life for another day, because you just can't bear it. And then I was saying that to someone the other day, and I was like, no, I just wake up just so excited.
So what's today going to bring?
Yeah,
Not,
or like a new journey.
What today's going to bring?
Oh, just like, oh God,
okay.
yeah,
What
just
is-
like
what's
so
gonna happen
excited
today?
of like new opportunities, new challenges, helping new people, meeting new people, and just the beauty in the pursuit of it all.
I've rekindled like my modelling, like recently, because I'm like,
Amazing.
you know, I don't care like really about. I don't have an attachment to it. I do it because I find it fun, and it's a way of expressing myself.
Yeah.
So I write spoken word, and me and 2 other people got together and we hosted our first Bedford's Got Talent open mic night, and I performed one of my poems, Self-Love and ADHD.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's like, and it feels so freeing.
Yeah.
To be able to drop the masks. And even someone that's known me a very long time, I saw them in the gym, and he said, you're just showing up as you, the real you, behind the scenes you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, he goes, it's amazing. So I'm like, yeah, actually,
I quite like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all right. And and I was saying to my partner, and I'm like, I just feel, I'm not aggy about stuff.
Yeah.
Because I would have had a right mare with myself, like, coming on a train, like getting somewhere that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I actually feel quite calm.
Yeah.
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 It's weird.
I love it.
It's actually weird. I'm just keep thinking, what's going to happen next?
Are you proud of yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm proud of myself and, how far I've come.
And to the future, right?
Yeah. But the things that you do today, the things that I'm doing today,
are they going to shape
are gonna make future me
even more proud.
Yeah. And I'm like, let's see what life brings.
Yeah, let's just go with it.
Yeah. And let's see what doors. I think when you can do that work on yourself, and you can shed some of those judgments of yourself, and actually be authentically you, whatever that bloody means.
So freeing, isn't it?
But
when you're just you, just showing up as you, no pressure.
The door of opportunity.
It really does. Yeah.
Like we said a bit earlier, what those doors of opportunity open for you when you were just raw and unfiltered. That's how I found you, and I was like, I fucking love this girl.
Oh,
I think she's great.
Oh, I love that. I appreciate
but
you.
that's because you're you, and that's how we find our people.
Yeah.
Because the more that we mask, the more that then we go, we don't have the right people around us.
Yeah.
And then we can find our tribe.
Yeah. But it was so scary for me to do that.
Yes.
Because you're almost, you're vulnerable. In a sense, I was extremely vulnerable for everything. But it was that's why I said on the way here, I was so back and forth about it. But it was only out of fear of people seeing and not accepting the real me.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to.
That's what it comes down
it's
to, and then I did.
Seen.
Yeah,
because of those negative feedback that we've had from a very young age.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're afraid to be ourselves because the world wasn't safe when we were ourselves.
Exactly.
When we were, somebody would say something, or you get told
or taken advantage of,
So you stop being yourself because you're protecting yourself.
Yeah.
So all of those versions of you, Neah, all of those Neahs that you've created in order to survive.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, okay.
What one works, what one's...
Yeah. And all those versions of me...
Yeah.
That one where I'd act all hard and everything. I'm not. I'm soft as shit.
Yeah. Like, we're crying in the cloakroom. Like, we'd still do it, okay?
I think... Yeah, but we can find our tribe, was what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Is when we take off those masks.
Yeah.
And it takes... bravery, vulnerability,
it does.
And it is scary.
Yeah, it is.
But once you push past that fear, and the fear is a lie anyway. Yeah, it's your ego lying to you to keep you safe again.
Yeah, it is.
So all that temporary moment of being uncomfortable is actually going to be the time where you change your life.
Yeah.
And you've got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
You've got to be okay with feeling uncomfortable.
Most definitely. When you feel the most afraid and feel the most vulnerable and feel like you need to stay in the same place so intensely, that is the point where you need to jump.
Yeah,
that is the point where you need to just go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's all the ego holding you back.
Yep,
at that point. The one when you're so afraid of jumping into the unknown, that is the place you need to be.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Yeah, well, you don't know.
What's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen?
Yeah.
You don't know until you try. And if the worst thing that happens is it's a no, I've banged on doors and they'd be like, no, don't want you on my podcast. No, you're not the right fit, whatever. I was like, okay. Bang on doors until they open.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep going.
Definitely.
You've got to be okay with rejection.
You've got to be okay
hard.
with it. Yeah. It's like building up that. It's character building as well, isn't it? You know.
Rejection, especially for neurodivergent people.
Right, rejection's hard.
Rejection sensitivity dysphoria is a thing.
It is traumatic.
Yes, because that perceived or real rejection actually hurts our body.
Yeah, because we
feels
feel that
very
anyway.
Physical.
Yeah,
and
almost
it feels,
physical.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah.
So that's a lot of the time where, especially neurodivergent people, and especially myself, would hide away.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, oh,
out of the fear
I just
of it.
want to wait to be invited, or what if they say no?
Yeah, because you almost build up in your head that they don't really like you, or they don't really want you there, or you're not wanted, or this. Yeah.
Nutty thing.
I know.
Brain.
I know.
Like the bane of my life.
It can be like the worst enemy.
Yeah.
But then when understood and managed, it can be just superpower. You know. But you know, we still get days and moments where it is. Of course, you know, we're always gonna be like that with when you've got
life's still life's.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I recently lost a friend. Just suddenly died.
Really?
Like, yeah. Life's still life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we had a big change. A family member is not. Is it His Majesty's Service? Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of things that have happened.
Yeah.
And life's still life, but it's how you deal with it.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's how you deal with it, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's been absolutely amazing to have you here, and it's been a pleasure to meet you.
I know. Thank you.
As well. What a vibe, and I'm so proud of how far that you've come, and you look absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So
likewise.
Thank you.
Right back at you,
darling. Virtual hug. We don't want to mess the camera up. But is there anything you want to say before we wrap up?
Just that anybody who feels that they're not enough has this not enoughness. Like, I want you to know that you are enough.
Yeah. What is your? Where do you limit enoughness? Like, do you know who puts that on it?
Yeah. In whose world?
Yeah.
Are you not enough?
Yeah.
And don't make it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight. Well, this has been absolutely amazing with Jen. I'm gonna tag her Instagram and her CRC pages at the bottom here. Can everyone remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and also follow Jen for the rest of her journey. And remember, outspoken words inspired actions, and to inspire others, you have to inspire yourself first. So from me, Neah Inspired, and
Jen,
the amazing Jen, thank you for watching, and until next time.
Now I'm living my best life.